Your boss has a job to try and stall anyone who wants a pay rise. Think about it, even if he knows that he's going to give you a pay rise, if he can keep that money in his pocket for a couple of extra weeks, that means he's had a win. So if he starts stalling you, saying, I need to talk to this person or I need to talk to that person, ask him for a concession that if there is an outcome that you do get a pay rise, that it is effective from the date of this discussion. In other words, today, not as a result of his stalling tactics 2 or 3 months down the road. This should be a concession that is easy for him to agree to, especially if he wants to say no. Why? Because if he has no intention of giving you a pay rise, then it's not going to cost him a cent to give you that concession. So you should be quite firm about wanting that concession from him early on in the process. Once you've done your training, the trick is to ask now. Right now, don't procrastinate. A lot of people convince themselves that they shouldn't ask for a pay rise. Oh, it's the wrong time of year, the company's not doing well at the moment, or no one gives pay rises at this time of year, or I have to wait till the next board meeting, or whatever. That is for your opposition to do. Your opposition will try and stall you for as long as possible. Your part in this game, if you want to be a winner in the pay rise game, is to ask for it right now, as soon as possible. As I said at the beginning, if you're going to be working anyway, then you may as well get rich anyway, and you may as well start getting rich right now. So ask for it straight away. But here's some hints. Wednesday is actually the best time to ask for a pay rise. Studies have shown that bosses are more likely to say yes on a Wednesday than they are on any other day. They think it's because on a Monday they come in and they've got everything ahead of them for the whole week. And on a Friday they're stressed because they still haven't got everything done and the weekend's fast approaching, or they're distracted because they're thinking about what they're going to do on the weekend. But Wednesday is the perfect day for them to say yes. They're less stressed and they're more likely to agree. So Wednesday is a great time. Find out whether your boss is a morning person or an afternoon person. If he's a bit of a grouch in the morning, don't ask him for a pay rise in the morning. Ask him when he's at his happiest. Because remember, it's a game, and his job is to say no. So don't help him say no. Help him say yes to you. One of the best times to ask for a pay rise is when you've just completed a successful project or task. When your boss has just told you that he is happy with you, or that he's pleased with the performance, or he's pointing out to you what a great result you got, then you can talk to him about your value to the organisation. It's important to isolate the salary issue. Don't try and bundle it with other things. If your boss calls you in and wants to talk to you about your holidays, don't use that as a leaping off point to talk about your salary. Make sure that the conversation is only about salary. Don't get distracted with side issues. His job is to try and get you off track. Your job is to stay focused on the salary issue. Remember, all you want right now is a pay rise, and that's all that is relevant to the discussion. Real estate agents know a thing or two about getting a pay rise. Now, they're not going to their boss and asking for a pay rise, but they are continually asking people to pay more for houses. And they use some tricks like conditioning. They will try and condition you into thinking that the house is worth more than it actually is. But when you first hear that information, you might think, no. But once you've heard it second time, third time, fourth time, guess what? You start thinking that way too. You start agreeing with them and finding extra information that supports their case. It's called conditioning. If they are conditioning a seller, not a buyer, then they will begin to tell the seller that the market isn't so great at the moment. The market is telling them that it's not worth enough. Why? Because they're trying to negotiate between the seller and the buyer, and they want to get the seller to sell for less and the buyer to buy for more. That's their job, so that they can bring them together and get a sale. Well, your job is exactly the same. Not all bosses will say yes on the first time. You may have to condition them. So every opportunity you get, you should be pointing out how much value you have to the organisation, how much value you add every single day, every single task. Why? Because they'll agree with you straight away? No, because you're conditioning them, so eventually they will say yes. A lot of bosses will say the organisation can't afford it or we can't afford it. It's your job to show them that they can afford it. Show them where they are spending money and that they have a choice in not spending the money in that area but in spending it on you. One of the phrases that seems to work really well in this regard is getting the total budget of the organisation. Say, for example, if the total budget is $5 million and they say, we have no choice, we can't give pay rises, to say, well, you do, you have $5 million worth of choices and you're making a choice with every dollar. All I'm asking for is the market value of what I'm providing to the organisation. Especially when you're starting out the conversation, don't be afraid to mention something positive that your boss has done for you. This will set a positive tone for the interview. It will eliminate in his mind that it is an adversarial or confrontation conversation, but rather that you are prepared to talk civilly and hopefully adjust your expectations so that both of you can come out with a win-win. During the interview, maintain eye contact. Don't drop your eyes. And speak slower than you would normally. Why? Because it conveys confidence and authoritarian tone to your voice. When you speak slower, but without large pauses, it actually tells your boss that you are very confident of getting the outcome that you are asking for. If you talk really quick, he might think that you're nervous. There might be nervous energy, and it might sound like he doesn't understand what you're saying because it will all get garbled up and he won't understand the things that you need him to understand to say yes. So slow your speech down. Don't talk like you're from the country, but just talk slower than you normally would. Maybe slightly louder, not yelling, but just a more authoritative and confident tone on purpose. Don't fidget or fiddle with anything. Now, you probably will be nervous and you might find yourself tapping things or or turning your head or scratching. Don't do it. If you have to, sit on your hands, literally sit on them and make sure you have good posture. Once again, it displays confidence and it will help your boss have confidence in what you are saying. In other words, that yes, you do deserve a pay rise. If your boss asks you a question that you are unprepared for, don't panic. Use phrases such as, I need to think about that. Don't concede things by saying, oh, that's a good point, or, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Just simply say, I need to think about that. Can I get back to you on that one? Don't compare your salary to someone else's in the organisation. What someone else in the organisation is getting is irrelevant to you, and it's not a game that you can win at. All that does is it makes things personal, and it limits you. If that other person has skills that you don't have, then they can straight away knock you back. And most people do have different skill sets in at least one key area of their job. The worst thing you can do is to compare your salary to your boss's salary. He knows how hard he works for his salary and he is convinced that he deserves it and more. He's not so convinced about you. That is just letting him win the pay rise game. Don't go there. If you talk to your boss about his salary, all you will achieve is he will get negative and he will get defensive and he will get personal. And those three things are not things that you want in your conversation at all. You want him to be focused on you, not himself. You want him to be positive about you and you want him to be assertive about doing something to get your pay rise. Don't be afraid to tell your boss that you actually enjoy your work. And everyone has some particular aspects of their job that they do enjoy. So highlight these first. Then link that enjoyment of your position to your achievements in the position. And then link your achievements to the reason why you deserve a pay rise.